Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, dogs, and cats. Don't pay attention to that faction form thing. That's not actually happening. That the mod turns that off. But welcome back, everybody. Jeez, we're back in Annex only. This should be our final part. I'm gonna try and make this one a little bit special, a little bit longer than the other ones. But we have a lot to go over here to make sure that this final is a good final. The Polish war against two countries, the Netherlands and Yugoslavia, actually against Russia as well. I think the Russians, though, joined as a defender, so the Polish didn't really want to fight the Russians. It's going good and bad. They're actually doing very well in the east against Yugoslavia, but they're doing very poorly against the Netherlands. Now, the Netherlands have actually just broken basically all of the Rhineland, as well as Württemberg, and they're pushing south into Austria and parts of Italy as well that Poland owns. The Yugoslavians are having a hard time capturing all of the, oh, well, thanks for the subscribe there, jeez. Yugoslavia has been having a hard time taking Austria here, but obviously, as you can see, that is changing. Everyone's joining factions, but the mod is turning it off. Oh, look at that. There is a faction here, and it's gone. I just also want to point out that the Scandinavian Kingdom now exists. So while it's destroying Finland, it has actually formed a new country, Scandinavian Kingdom. I think that's actually through a focus, though. Oh, hold on, what? Wait, did Yugoslavia actually justify on the Czechs? That is a terrible idea. Do not declare that war. Oh, the Czechs have war goals on Yugoslavia. I don't know why I got a notification for that. That's weird. And, no, it actually did happen. So, Yugoslavia, after we've watched them rise, defeat all odds, face the kebab, destroy the kebab, retake Constantinople, they are going to fall due to the Poles and the Czechs. And it's not even going to be a competition. Czechoslovakia has been waiting for this kind of opportunity for a very long time, and as you can tell, their units are ready for this. They are in the core of Yugoslavia now. From this war, we're seeing a massive shift of the power in Europe right now. I think France is going to start having some actual competition. Oh my god! That peace deal! Everything changed. 16 states have gone to Poland. The Czech Union took 6 states, which is just over here. All in Ukraine. Yugoslavia is still alive in Serbia, but they also have Crimea for some reason. Albania, Romania, Greece, Bulgaria were all... Actually, Turkey, Slovakia, Yugoslavia, Hungary, Latvia, Kosovo, Lithuania, Macedonia, Novorossiya, Montenegro, Croatia, Belarus, and Bosnia were all puppeted. So we can see the green ones are puppets of Poland. Actually, no, look. Looks like most of these are either puppets of Poland or the Czechs. So Poland has a ton more power now. It has a ton of puppets that are going to help it. It's still at war with Russia. That's the big boy that it has to fight now. Now, can these divisions get to the front and defend from this massive Russian wave that is about to sweep through Eastern Europe without anything stopping them? I see the front line maybe stopping around Moldova and meeting up around here probably. They're probably going to take... Actually, they're not... I don't think the Russians are at war with the Czechs. I think the Czechs just had that war separately. Oh, and there's a nuke that have just been dropped on Hamburg. Wow, so, this whole time, the mod that makes it so the AI has to annex everything must just not be working correctly right now. Also, why is Chechnya owned by Persia? It's a colony state? I don't know why that just happened. But it seems the annex-only mod has stopped working due to the recent updates of the game. Now, I did turn off the new Waking the Tiger DLC to record this episode because this episode is being recorded after Waking the Tiger came out, but there's going to be a lot of weird things that we might notice. One of those being that Persia is missing some states. I did give Persia some extra factories to help combat that, but I really struggled with this for a little while. There's nothing I can really do about this. But yeah, all of Europe has balkanized once again, except for Poland. And I think that this is okay for our last episode. So I've gone ahead and just decided that for this last episode, I want to turn off no factions and AI-only annexes, because the mods weren't really working anyways. So I would really like to see, at this point in the game, what kind of factions would form. Oh, Belarus just capitulated, by the way. That's a ton of equipment. The Russians slowly pushing towards the Polish capital. Actually, Poland is very close to Russia, so it might not be too long before the Russians get there. The Pakistani Union of Nations has just formed between Pakistan and Kazakhstan. Now that's a good faction. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. That means Pakistan's army will actually be used for something useful. it will now be fighting... Oh, it's getting duked too. It will not just be constantly invading Oman. It will now actually be fighting the Persians as well. Okay, remind me not to observe Russia anymore because of this giant mess that they're doing here. Now, I would like to point out that I do have Waking the Tiger turned off, but the decisions panel is still here. Oh wow, look at this. Poland's actually making a huge push against the Netherlands. There's no divisions guarding... Oh, they just capitulated as well. Poland took 3 states, Belgium and the Netherlands were puppeted. And it looks like France has war goals against Poland already. Was it from that peace deal that just happened there? I don't know why. Oh, they have a non-aggression pact now. Oh, wow. Okay. Did England get a nuke off? It was either England or Morocco finally got a nuke off on France. What does the air game look like right now? It's pretty bad for France, actually, in the southern France and southern Spain. But it's looking good in northern England, like it always has been. There was a peace conference. The monarchist party was put in power in Finland. Nothing even changed. Oh, look at this. Ethiopia and France have just formed a faction. Royal Alliance of Bourbon France. That is the second faction to form. I expect maybe Brazil to join that faction because Brazil has been fighting... Oh, there goes the Vatican City. They've joined. Brazil has been fighting England alongside France for a long time. The Scandinavian Kingdom joined them as well. That makes sense, I guess, because these are all monarchies that are joining here. The Omani state, it has its monarchism rising. If it overthrows the nationalist party in Oman, Oman could definitely join as well. Now, the war in the east is definitely going in Russia's favor for the most part, even though both sides are getting nuked. But it is being very slow, except maybe this bit right here is going pretty fast. It has been pretty slow for Russia to actually push into Poland. They've been holding them off pretty well. They've just now, after probably about 2 months of fighting, pushed Poland completely out of Belarus. Also, apparently Canada is now actually justifying on the Confederation. They were justifying on Honduras, but I guess they didn't declare the war. Oh, and actually Honduras has Canadian volunteers down here helping defend them. Oh my goodness, Bourbon France declared war on Brittany. That's a good one to pick up, I guess. I don't know how strong Brittany is. Oh, they've got a lot of tanks. It's going to be hard to push through that line. But Brittany can only hold on for so long. So will Brittany form a faction, possibly with England? That would be pretty dope. Oh, look at this. An English... Oh my goodness. An English D-Day has just occurred. They've landed troops on the French coast. Now, it's only a matter of seconds before the French army gets there. So they need to land as many troops and take as many spots as possible as fast as they can. And don't lose your port. Do not be an idiot. They're totally going to lose this port. They've lost it. They're officially... These divisions are probably just going to die. But this does show a sign that France is vulnerable, even though they are probably the strongest powerhouse in Europe, aside from maybe Russia. It looks like the Koreans have held off the Russians at the border between South and North Korea. This was all unified, but Russia has taken all of North, and they want to take the South too. They are still at war. But the Koreans are holding them off. Our poor little Pakistani chicken is having a hard time fighting the Persians. Looks like Kazakhstan has taken a lot of Turkmenistan back. And actually, China is having a little bit of an easier time now, fighting the Kazakhstanis and Pakistanis, now that they're at war with both. We might see the rise of a strong China here. Alright, so the French have officially broken one province. That's all they need, really. After one, that means more are to come. Okay, the Asian Association has formed. All I see is Korea. Oh, Palau as well. Oh, Poland! Poland joined the faction with France. Oh, that's a huge one. All the puppets, too. The French alliance is absolutely massive now, and it's basically united just to, I would assume, possibly an RP, that they've united to stop the Russian threat. France can safely allocate quite a few divisions to the Eastern Front to help Poland defend. The Russians are at the gate of Warsaw, and the Polish need as much help as they can get defending it. I was wondering if the French were going to go to war against Poland and then fight. Oh, look at this. Latvia has joined, Slovakia has joined, all of these little puppets. Also, I missed a little war there that just got declared. It's Barbados versus Grenada. This is the war of the century over here. I don't know why we haven't been paying attention to this one. This is the more important war, obviously. Oh, you know what happened? Wait, did the Czechs just join as well? So I think what happened here is the state's layout changed. And the state that is Chechnya is different now than it was. So the French are arriving on the front against Russia. It's looking like it's going to be a more fair fight this time. Oh, and the plan was just executed there. Let's see if they can actually push the Russians back. The Russians are entering Romania, and it looks like they're getting Canadian volunteers. Everybody is doing what they can to stop Russia from taking over Europe. What's going on down here? And Algeria? Wait, why is Algeria at war with France? I didn't realize Algeria was at war with France. Okay, Algeria joined as a defender to defend Brittany. I don't know why the enemies of France and Poland have not yet formed a faction of their own. We've also been ignoring two sleeping giants over here, India and China. Both of them have extreme strength. India, 834 divisions, 161 military factories. And China, who is working on killing off this Pakistani coalition over here, 575 divisions, 242 military factories. Oh man, look at this! The Algerians have actually successfully navally invaded Sicily, and they've pushed the French out of most of it. They're actually looking like they're going to start losing, and the French are going to probably take it back. But they still did it. They've also made a naval landing into Spain and close to Gibraltar, but those will probably get pushed back as well. A peace conference? Okay, monarchist party was put in power in Brittany, so they'll probably join the faction. Oh, look at this. Look at all these generals. This is horrible. England, how you doing, buddy? You've got better numbers now that the system has changed. And your army is still standing strong. Fortress Britain still exists. 323 divisions, only 30 military factories, though. That is probably because of all the military factories that have been nuked. Actually, only one damaged military factory, but there's 15 damaged civilian factories. So all of these factories are taking a very long time to be repaired because of all those damaged civilian ones. Yes, Sicily is being taken back. It will probably not be held by the Algerians for too much longer. And I could probably see a realistic naval invasion by the French into Algeria, and then the capitulation of Morocco as well. Grenada was annexed, and St. Lucia was annexed. Barbados has grown into two more islands have been annexed to them. That's probably done for them, though, because they can't go either direction. They'd have to either fight England or France, and neither of those would be very fun for them to fight, I don't think. Although there's literally no divisions, actually maybe one, in French South America. Oh, there was a peace conference. Okay, we've seen, I would say minor, but this is one of, oh god. The borders are getting worse every peace conference. The Persians took 7 states, and the Chinese took 12 states. Did Oman get any states? It doesn't look like it. Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan were both puppeted. Uzbekistan was also puppeted. And Afghanistan. Nationalist parties were put in power in Kazakhstan as well as Pakistan. Whatever's left of them. China's puppet is Kyrgyzstan, and Persia controls the puppets of Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. This really is just the utter collapse of human civilization. I would like to see the casualties if we can even find them, because there's so many dang wars. So the Poles have lost roughly 564,000 against the Russians, where the Russians have lost 2.44 million, and the Zaire has lost 639,000 and is about to capitulate. But some other notable ones is Ethiopia has lost 619,000, and Bourbon, France has lost 507,000. In the fight against France, England has lost 4.3 million, and France has actually lost 1.6 million. So, sorry, 1.3 million. So that's still a lot. Warsaw is being sieged. The Russians are trying to surround it, but it's really not working due to the very large presence of French forces. They are very close to Warsaw, though, and I mean they're one province away. They're trying to take Warsaw right now. It's gonna be really hard for them. Their divisions aren't doing that well. And actually, they are still yet to push Latvia and Lithuania completely out of the Baltics because of these Canadian volunteers. That's pretty sweet, actually. Oh, check this out. So, Persia is actually justifying on Egypt. They're 19 days in. That will be an incredible one. I think some new factions will probably form out of that. I would also just like to point out how ironic it is that Turkey ended up with Istanbul at the end. Despite all of those wars. All of those deaths, it's still here. Oh, Korea finally capitulated as well. To the Russians. Oh, peace conference. Okay, so that's Korea. There is now a North Korean Russian puppet. Oh, and Moldova has just joined the French faction? I guess they weren't in it already. They were fighting Russia independently outside of this war. Alright, so they're really going to enjoy the support of French and Polish tanks in their territory. Okay, so now Canada is justifying on Honduras again. They're no longer justifying on the Confederacy. They keep changing their mind. Warsaw is still holding, but it's not looking good for the Polish line. The Russians are squeezing their way through despite all of the French and Polish defense. Actually, it looks like they're going to push the Russians out of this city here. Oh no. Grim day for the Poles, everybody. Warsaw has fallen. Unlike, what is it, 1920? Warsaw did not hold. And it's looking grim for Poland at this point. They've moved their capital over to Poznan. It's looking like the Russians are slowly going to move in and take Europe. But a lot of people are going to die for that to happen. So Russia is down to 2 million manpower. They're losing a lot of troops. They've lost 3.5 million just fighting the Polish war. So they've definitely lost a lot. Okay, Pakistan and Canada. All right, so the Pakistani Union of Nations is back. They're back and they're ready. Jeez. And it looks like Canada is at war with the Czechs. The Czechs and their puppets. I don't know how that happened or why that happened. But yeah, they seem to be at war. Alright, so I just let the game run for about 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And I just came back to quite a lot has just happened here. I have the Chinese apparently declaring war on Russia. Here it is. I was just observing as them when I left. And also Poland has capitulated. So I want to see how France and the rest of the allies that still are alive can recover from this, if not at all. The French war machine is starting to die down. 232 divisions. It used to have quite a few more, but a lot of them have died in the war against Russia over here. There goes Romania as well. Even more divisions are now stranded in Russian territory. Bulgaria and this new Turkish state down here are going to be next. Now, the Scandinavian kingdom is holding on up here only because they've got the Russians at a slight choke point, but it looks like they've pushed into one province this direction. That basically means that they'll have free reign here in a little while. The French army can't protect all sides. Now, it doesn't really look like Russia is putting up too much of a fight against China. They're mostly just going to be abandoning the east, I would assume, because why fight in the east when you can just finish off the west over here? This is all that really matters. There's really nothing out here in Siberia. But it is going to drive away a little bit of Russia's attention from Europe. And that this Chinese distraction might be just enough for France to actually recover and possibly gain a little bit more ground. So the Russians as well have entered southern Sweden. This is not good for the Scandinavian kingdom. This probably spells the end. The Moroccan state has made a naval invasion across Africa into the Horn of Africa against Ethiopia. And Ethiopia is going to die. Morocco's not even in a faction. I guess they were just declared war on when Ethiopia joined the French faction. Wow, Morocco. That's pretty incredible that you've been able to do that. It might not hold on for too much longer, though, because it looks like the Ethiopian army is starting to reach around the back and cut off the ports. But Morocco holds a lot of the core Ethiopian territory, and there might not be too much victory points left. Ethiopia is 99% towards capitulation. If they lose this province here, which it looks like they might, the entirety of Ethiopia will capitulate. Actually, no. This province is pretty well guarded. The French now face the Russians on their own turf. They have not entered the core of France yet, but they're on the border, and they're breaking Belgium, and they've broken a lot of the Polish territory. And look at that. Nope, they actually have officially now broken into core French territory. Now would probably be a good time for another one of those tasty naval invasions from Britain if they wanted to. Oh, look at that. Frankfurt was just nuked. I'm not sure by who. It could have been by Russia or France, actually. Oh, that one was definitely Russian. I don't think Brussels would get nuked by France, seeing as they're in the same faction and they need each other to survive. Here's a map of all the territory that China has lost and gained in their surprise invasion of Russia, the eastern portion. They've taken a lot of eastern Siberia, Vladivostok has fallen. They've also taken northern Korea. Oh my god, Ethiopia just capitulated. They actually did it. It looks like Sudan is at war with Russia, who now controls a large portion of what the Ethiopian Empire was. And look at this! Zaire's back! They've gained their territory back. Wait, did they annex this? Hold on, what is this? The Hutu Tutsi Radical Union. I did not know this was in the game. Has a claim on this area, but looks like Ethiopia is now controlling it. Ethiopia in exile. Also forgot to mention, Canada and Honduras are duking it out. Canada has made up their mind, and they've decided, yes, we want to fight Honduras, not the Confederacy. So they're slowly pushing down Central America, but it's taking a long time, and Honduras is doing a good job of holding the Canadians off. Alright, so it seems like Sudan is actually doing the cleanup. Oh, look at this. The Comoros Emirate and Sudan created a faction. The African Union of Allah, of course, we've seen that one before in we've seen that one in a series a long time ago. But it looks like the African Union of Allah, or mostly Sudan, is coming around here, sweeping up all this Russian territory that was Ethiopia. They're also finishing what they and Ethiopia started against Zaire, finishing them off. And South Africa is still remaining out of this conflict. Belgium has capitulated. Northern bits of France are being chewed away at. It's not long now until Paris falls and we see a massive, massive peace deal. I'm actually intrigued to see what the peace deal will look like. I'm thinking that obviously if Russia is going to annex quite a few states, but I think mostly it's just going to be Europe reorganized but dominated by Russia instead of a Europe dominated by France and Poland. Paris has fallen, and the defenders of Paris, a lot of Indian volunteers as well, have just been surrounded north of Paris. I don't know if we could really compare France to being the axis of this game. Oh, look at this. Oh, the French are still over here in Normandy a little bit. But they were definitely an aggressor, and this is almost like World War II in a way, where they started a very large war, they took over a bunch of countries, they formed an alliance, and then they lost to the Russians. But if we look at it another way, the Czechs have basically done the same thing, except they didn't form an alliance. They killed a couple countries, they have a few puppets, and they've actually held on. I think the Czechs are probably one of the real winners of this whole game, and they decided to still nuke Lyon even though the entirety of France is falling. France is still yet to capitulate. They've lost most of their major cities, but they're still holding on in a few. One being Lyon, which has been nuked, and the other being Bordeaux, which I assume has been nuked, but I haven't seen it happen. And the entire Italian peninsula is still a stronghold for the French. The Greater Turkish State decided to join the French alliance at the worst time possible, right when France is going to capitulate. That means Kurdistan is just going to be handed over to Russia after they capitulate. Oh, it's done. It happened. Hopefully this does not crash the game. Please do not crash. I beg of you. I want to see this. Oh, it happened. It happened, boys. Let's see the map. Okay, it kind of looks normal. No, it doesn't. Oh god. Well, let's just take a look at this first before we even look at the map. We have the Russian state took 31 states. England took 7. England actually won the war, but they didn't take Wales. Oh my god. The entire war started from England taking Wales. Belgium was completely annexed. Kenya, Eritrea, South Sudan, Malawi, Corsica, Italian state, Swiss state, Spanish state, Welsh state, Venetian state, Catalonian state, Venezuela, Suriname, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, San Marino, Liechtenstein were all puppeted. And a bunch more that I'm not going to waste your guys' oh my god. So much was puppeted. So this is pretty awesome. Russia annexing all of this, but leaving Poland with their capital as well as Lwów. Why, Russia? Russian Germany is here. They've lost a lot, and there's little pieces of Poland everywhere. Belgium no longer exists. The Italian state is back. Wow, what an end. Denmark. Denmark owns a piece of Albania. Okay, England also owns parts of Turkey, and Turkey has lost even more, but Turkey still controls Istanbul at the end of this. The Nordic Pact now exists. It's no longer... it had a different name before, the Scandinavian Kingdom. It's now the Nordic Pact because they're nationalists. Wow. Well, what an end. I mean, technically Russia is still fighting the Chinese, and I think Sudan, because Sudan conquered a lot of their African holdings, so Sudan's going to have a hard time in the future. They're also still at war with landlocked Kurdistan, which is going to be very hard to reach. I think this is it. I think this is our end. Thank you very much for watching this episode. Really quick, I would like to thank all the new subscribers for coming to the channel, checking it out, and considering a subscribe. You can all check me out on Twitter as well. There's links in the descriptions, as well as Twitch. I would just like to announce that I do a live stream every Saturday at 3:30 PST. So if you're available, you can join that. Also, Ukraine is now just Crimea. Just to want to point that one out. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this series. This was an awesome series to run. It ran for a very long time, and I think this is a pretty epic finish to turn off those mods that the whole series was about, actually. But thank you very much for watching. Again, if you liked, make sure to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys are new. And I will see you guys all next time. Peace.